Hello and thanks for joining us. You're watching Tech24, France 24's tech show. France creates a new index to boost promising French startups. In this edition, we speak to the CEO of Vadesecure, a leading player in the field of cybersecurity. We ask him how he has taken his business globally. And in Test24, we try the Outsight, a system that uses lidar technology, but also cameras and radars to raise the perception and comprehension of the environment of self-driving vehicles. Wanting to get closer to the stock market, the French government has unveiled a new index of the 40 fastest-growing companies in France. You'll find French unicorns, of course, like OVH, VP, BlaBlaCar, and Deezer, but also less known and very promising startups. The idea is to help them take their place on the international tech scene by providing them with personalized follow-up from French public administrations. And one of these companies is Vadesecure, a leader in predictive email defense that is already protecting 600 million mailboxes worldwide. Well, to speak more about it, I'm joined in the studio by the CEO, Georges Lotigier. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you.
So Vadesecure recently made headlines when it announced a $70 million round secured with a U.S. venture capital firm. How did it happen? Did you go to the U.S.? Did they come to you? Tell us the story.
U.S. came to us. We had the chance to be elected for an award in RSA, the most important show for cybersecurity. We were the hottest product. And so more than 50 financial company, growth equity company from USA came to us to invest in the company, to propose to invest in the company.
So after seeing that award, they came to you, 50 propositions.
Yes, and we had two term sheet, formalized term sheet, which were at a good condition. So we accepted that.
Why was it easier to raise funds in the US versus here in France?
It's harder because the culture is different. To invest so many money for a growing company, so we burn cash, and we have also a part of cash out, a large part of cash in. This is not usual in France, and I think things have to change.
And now the index, the new index that was created by the government, how is that set to help you? Because it seems like you're doing pretty well as of now.
Yes, it's very interesting. I don't know how it will help us, but we will have an account manager to help us in everything. If we have a legal problem or understanding for the China market or everything. So we can ask for everything, each problem we can have with the French administration for new market, for hiring new talents. So they are supposed to help us in all that. But the main important is that it's a great honor, and the visibility of the company is in the lights.
Right.
And it's also very good for the team. This is an achievement for what we have done the last 2 years.
Very well. Now, what advice would you give to young entrepreneurs who are trying to raise a seed money in, here in Europe and in France? And what do you think, what is the one thing that they usually overlook?
It's difficult to give an advice. I will more share my experience. What we did is to be focused on one sole technology and to become the leader in that technology. And the worldwide leader for that small technology. And we started to sell this technology to the companies who are our competitor now, worldwide. And so after that, we have to create the brand and to invite the world.
Right, so you focused on a niche
market.
Very
focused. And also one thing which is really important is to spend money on product marketing and go-to-market automation. If you think that it's important to know the customer you are selling to, you will sell only in Paris.
Georges Lotigier, the CEO of Vadesecure, thank you very much indeed for that. And moving on now to a whole other story. According to the Parkinsons Foundation, as many as 10 million people could be suffering from the disabling condition worldwide. To help patients with Parkinson's disease regain control of their hands and reduce the tremor, a startup in the UK has developed a high-tech glove, as Maud Julien explains.
Sue Whitehouse was diagnosed with essential tremor 5 years ago. Like Parkinson's disease, it causes the patient's hands to shake uncontrollably, and makes simple tasks like sewing impossible.
No.
As long as it's not too tight around your...
No.
A group of volunteer students and graduates have designed a glove which uses the laws of physics to control tremors mechanically.
So we have an aerospace-grade gyroscope in this. It functions exactly like a top. So as the top spins, it tries to stay upright. So in the same way with this, the glove actually counteracts your hand tremors immediately and instantaneously. So as you shake, it automatically cancels out the shakes.
I've done it! Oh, wow!
Patients report that wearing the Gyro glove is like plunging your hand into thick syrup, where movement is both free and slow.
Yeah. I haven't been able to do cross-stitch since I got the damn thing.
The product could help an estimated 200 million people suffering from the same condition as Sue.
To me, it's a big thing not being able to put a bit of makeup on and not to be able to put a necklace on. There's all sorts of things that I can't do, but these are going to enable me to do a bit more, keep more of my independence instead of losing it day by day.
Initial tests suggest the gloves reduce shaking by up to 90%. The product's creators hope it will be given medical approval in the US and in the EU next year.
And let's now welcome our in-house expert, Dan and Jay Kattlecar, to chat more about other innovations that are being developed or that have already hit the market to help people with Parkinson's disease. Hello, Dan.
Hello, Julia.
So let's talk about a simple gadget that we all know about, the Apple Watch.
Well, yes, Apple Watch, by registering the motion data of the user's arm, Apple Watch can detect tremors and dyskinesia, which are the symptoms of Parkinson's disease. Now, this is developed through the application program interface, which is called Movement Disorder, which is a part of an open-sourced framework called ResearchKit, which aims to give researchers the data they need in order to diagnose certain medical conditions like, say, autism, or prevent seizures, or even find connections between sleep habits and certain diseases related to heart or diabetes.
Now, virtual reality is also being used to help people with Parkinson's disease.
Well, yes, a neurosurgeon from the University of Ottawa is using virtual reality to improve the precision of the deep brain stimulation procedure. Deep brain stimulation surgery involves implanting a microelectrode whose thickness is equal to the width of a human hair in a specific part of the brain. Now, this microelectrode records from and stimulates that part of the brain in order to alleviate certain symptoms of Parkinson's disease. Now, the neurosurgeon, Dr. Adam Sachs, he was able to view an accurate 3D computer-generated image of the patient's brain, for example, and he was also able to visualize the brain activity as recorded by the microelectrode. So using all this data, this could help in improving the precision of the surgery.
Now, here in France, a startup has developed a new technique to help people who have suffered from a stroke, and it involves tricking the brain in a sort of way.
Well, yes, the French startup Descente is using a visual technique in order to help relearning process much more efficient. Now, this involves this visual technique because it has been found out that patients who suffer from paralysis, they normally experience discrepancy between movement control and the visual feedback they get. So, for example, if you're trying to move an arm and if the visual feedback is negative, that is, it's not moving as it should, then it leads to discouragement, and it becomes even more challenging for the patient to undergo this relearning process. So what this startup Descente does is that by using artificial intelligence, they use the positive images, for example, of a healthy arm in order to encourage patients to keep on, keep on trying and do this relearning process.
Dan and Jay Kattlecar, thank you. We're going to move on to Test 24. The French company Outsight has unveiled a new camera that could prove to be quite crucial for self-driving cars in general, Dan.
Well, yes, this is the 3D semantic camera that the company Outsight recently unveiled, and it can scan hundreds of meters ahead, just like lidar, LiDAR stands for light detection and ranging, so it's able to detect objects at a large distance, and the LiDAR system uses lasers. So these pulses of lasers are emitted and they bounce back from those objects, and the LiDAR system is able to gauge the distance as well as determine what those objects are. Similarly, this particular camera, it sends out lasers in the infrared range, and by through the reflection of the laser beams, it's able to detect things such as skin, wood, metal, even ice. So it makes a perfect fit for self-driving cars because, for example, it can detect pedestrians from a large distance. It can detect the presence of ice in wintry conditions, and even in general when there's bad weather, when this self-driving car is being used in bad weather conditions, this can be pretty handy for detecting the obstacles that lie ahead. Now, the interesting part is that it does not rely on machine learning, so it doesn't use these vast databases, but it actually relies on real imaging, and that's what makes it consume less power and utilize lesser bandwidth.
Dhananjay Kadolkar, thank you very much indeed for that. That brings us to the end of this week's edition of Tech 24, but you can watch it again on our website, france24.com. See you soon.